Hey everybody, it's me, Angel Benton, and it is time for another edition of Angel Sudsy Recap, where we delve into the world of daytime television and we do a few reality shows on the side. And one of the daytime television shows that we do is The Young and the Restless. Now, I was kind of debating whether I should talk about this past week's episode of Young and the Restless or I should tell you more about the event. So, what I'll do is, what I've decided I'm going to do is I'll talk about I'll talk about the episodes that have aired this past week, and I will pepper in stories from the weekend. I mean, last week was really my big episode to talk all about the event. That's all I did was, and it went long too, but it was okay though, because, you know, I enjoyed it a lot. It was a really, really, really great time. Okay. So, where to begin? Okay, so first of all, there was the whole big drama between Victor and Nick and how that whole thing played out. You know, Victor ended up kicking Nick out of the tack house. And not just that, but so Chelsea, because, you know, so he decided to move in with Chelsea. So him and Christian and Faith moved in with Chelsea, although Faith was still at camp when it happened. And so Victor had all of Faith's new bedroom that Chelsea had designed put in his house. Not with Nick, where he went. And then he asked Abby to move into the tack house. So, you know, Abby, she is always constantly going to be wanting her father's approval. So she's like, sure. But she did talk to Nick about it first. And then who comes up the step when Abby's moving in? Nikki. Now, Nikki's very kind to Abby, right? She said, you know, I wish I would have known that Nicholas had moved out, because Abby was like, ooh, he didn't tell you? Ooh, sorry. So then, of course, she goes over to Nick's house with Chelsea, and then, you know, he lets her know and he apologizes for not filling her in. But, I mean, you know, when time is short like that, you can only do so much, right? So she understood. And what's funny is that she was kind of telling Nick to not poke the bear when it comes to Victor. But he was like, he's still snowing you. Like, you are, even though you're not together, he's still snowing you. You need to wake up. Buy a clue. So, you know, it's very interesting because I do see her point too. It's like, okay, fine. You know what? You want to kick him out? Then let him go. Just write him off. Like, you know, and if Faith wants to hang out with him, that's on Faith, but you don't want to. Do I have a black hair? I have a black hair. Crazy. You don't want to, incite more, you know, bitterness between the families. Speaking of the families, okay, let's talk about the Abbotts and the Newmans. So apparently this feud is now in full gear, right? I mean, here's the thing about the Abbott-Newman feud. I don't recall an Abbott-Newman feud back in the 80s. I really don't. Back when John Abbott was around and he was running Jabot, maybe I'm not remembering it. It was 30 years ago, so maybe I'm not remembering it correctly. But I feel like, you know, infamously, you know, in real life, Eric Braeden, who plays Victor, and Jack Abbott had some sort of physical altercation. Peter Bergman, who plays Jack Abbott, they had some sort of physical altercation on the set. And I feel like after that is when they wrote in that Newman-Abbott feud, just to facilitate them not working together, right? But, you know, it's been 30 years and they have moved on, both of them. So, I don't know. It seems kind of, I don't know. It seems a little weird. I'd like to know the history of it. So, if any of you know the history of the Newman-Abbott feud, like the full-on, like, you know, bitterness between the two families, or is it really just the Victor and Abbott feud? Really? Because I don't know any Newmans that have gone after the Abbotts except for Victor. He's the only one I know of. So, anyways, if you could fill me in on that, I would greatly appreciate that. Let's see. So, what else happened? Okay, so Dina, I love me some Dina Mergeron. I really do. She is the best. So she talks about how she came back to so she had breakfast with Abby, right? And Abby was asking about Brent Davis, who is technically her grandfather, but she doesn't know that. In fact, nobody knows that except Ashley, Dina, Jack, and Victor. That's it. Nobody else in the family. Tracy doesn't know. No one else knows, right? And that's how that's how Ashley wants to keep it. And Dina's like, "Oh, sweetie, I was never going to tell her that. That's not my secret to keep. I'm not keeping that secret. So, I mean, I'm not telling that secret. That's not my place." So she's great. But then, so she's then been hanging out. I know this is going to sound weird, but she's been hanging out with Billy Abbott, right? Because Billy has been, real nice and kind to her. And, they work in the same building, even though they're not in the same company. And he walked her to work and, and of course, he's able to go into her laptop while she's in her room, because she said she had to get some things from her room before she goes to work. So she got some things. And while she's in the bathroom freshening up, he goes into her laptop and sees that there's a Post-it note sticking on the computer with her password, takes a picture of it. Okay, so next week is going to be all about espionage and drama, and it's going to be a little bit crazy, I'm sure, and it's going to be, I feel bad, though, that it was Dina's password. First of all, this is why you never write your passwords for your computer on anything, right? If you've got a random password, like she had a random password, it was like CG3 exclamation my point NH or whatever, right? So it doesn't make any sense, right? But if that's the case, how are you going to remember it? So of course you'd write it down, right? So what you got to do is you got to log in first and then change it to something you would remember and then move on, right? Because otherwise, if someone finds out your password, you're done. Anyways, so yeah, I think that's unfortunate, because he's teeing her up for a big fall. And it's going to be huge too. And don't forget, Crazy Phyllis comes back in October. So I'm still counting down the days for Crazy Phyllis to come back. In terms of the whole lesbian Tessa and Mariah, here's the thing. I love Mariah. I think Mariah is fierce. FYI, please, my call is still out there for anyone that's watching this video to help me find that footage from American Idol on YouTube. Or if it's not on YouTube, maybe it's on Vimeo. Or, she's in the, I'm telling you, she's in the audience of the maybe finale episode of either season 1 or season 2. And Ryan Seacrest calls her on stage, and he says, "What's your name?" And she's like, "Cameron." And he's like, "Okay, Cameron, it's nice to see you tonight," and then puts her down or whatever. But I'm telling you, she was on that show. I'm telling you. So please don't make me a liar. I'm not a liar. She just thinks I'm crazy. Well, she might be a little right there. Anyways, so here's the thing about lesbian Mariah storyline. I love it, right? And, Tess has been doing some stuff. But here's the thing about Tess that is kind of annoying me. I feel like with Tess, the storylines have been a bit myopic, right? So 1 minute she's teaching Reed. The next minute she's Nikki's assistant. Now she's got a record deal, and she's dating Noah and kind of enjoying this flirtation with Mariah. So the thing about that, is that I never saw any resolution to any of her previous jobs, right? What happened to teaching Reed? Does she still teach Reed? Does she still work for Nikki? Or maybe she was just for the benefit. Maybe she was just a temporary hire. We know she moved out of the main house. We get that. But now all we do is we see her moon over her sister Crystal, and we see Mariah moon over Tess. And that's the thing that irritates me about this storyline the most. It has nothing to do with the fact they're lesbians. It has to do with the fact that Mariah has turned from a strong, sassy girl into one of those love-struck teenagers that, is constantly mooning over somebody, angst. That's not her style. That seems a little bit out of character for Mariah. I'm just saying. Anyways, I do want to say thank you so much for logging on today. I do appreciate it. Please feel free to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Angel Benton. You can hashtag YR to talk Young and the Restless with me, or you can also hashtag GH to talk General Hospital. You can also hit that subscribe button on my YouTube channel to get my YouTube videos sent to your inbox every single day. Thank you so much for logging on today. Have a wonderful day. Peace out and wubba wubba wubba.